Howdy y'all and welcome. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. We got some breaking news here. We do have a blizzard warning here in New York City. Getting to the wording down here that this blizzard warning is in effect from 6 p.m. Friday through 1 p.m. on Sunday, April 6th. Locations impacted are the New York City Metro, Long Island, coastal New Jersey, Connecticut, and southern New England. Life-threatening blizzard conditions with extremely heavy snow and even blowing snow are going to be possible. Accumulations up to 12 to 18 inches of snow with locally higher amounts are going to be possible in bands of heavy snow. The timing will begin late Friday afternoon and become heavy by Friday evening and continuing through Easter Sunday morning, so it looks like some Easter plans could potentially get ruined, as the winds are going to be gusting upwards of 35 to 45 mile per hour, with frequent gusts up to 55 mile an hour, creating whiteout conditions at times. So this potential historic late season nor'easter will bring catastrophic travel disruptions during the busy Easter holiday weekend. Don't have to get out, please don't get out, but of course if you do, then please be careful. So big blizzard going on out there, or not. April Fools, everybody. I had all of y'all fooled. Happy April Fools, everybody. Now, there's not going to be any snowfall over there, but we do actually have some snowfall going on up here in the northern plains and upper Midwest, as winter storm warnings have been issued. You can see heavy snow and disruptive ice in the upper Midwest. Severe thunderstorms in the southern plains, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But we can see the wording here: a late season winter storm will produce a combination of heavy snow and disruptive ice starting this evening in the northern plains and moving into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes tonight, continuing through Thursday. Severe thunderstorms will likely produce severe wind gusts, large hail, and a few tornadoes, and heavy rainfall across the southern and central plains today. And as we click on one of these alerts here and go down here and show y'all, round 1, Wednesday afternoon through Thursday, rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain are likely with this round. 2 to 4 inches of snow is expected in western to central Minnesota. Heavy rain is more likely across the southeastern part of Minnesota, though. A wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain is expected between the snow and rain areas. And of course, small changes in the system track will have a large impact on the precipitation type here in parts of Minnesota and really much of the northern plains as well. And of course, we have the ice potential Wednesday through Thursday. Most likely time period for ice would be Wednesday night through Thursday morning. A mix of freezing rain and sleet is most likely from southern Minnesota northeast into west central Wisconsin. Thursday morning's commute will likely be difficult, especially within the winter storm warning areas. Down tree branches and power lines may occur if enough freezing rain accumulates. And what's uncertain at this point is the amount of sleet versus freezing rain. That's really hard to forecast, honestly. And is ice able to accumulate on the ground, or do the warm ground temps and rain quickly melt the ice? That's the uncertainties, of course. Hourly precipitation types, y'all can pause the video or read the same time you want. And of course, don't have to head out, please don't. Here's how you can prepare for sleet, as sleet can be very, very dangerous. Take it easy when shoveling, of course. Sleet can be much more dense than snow. Go slowly and don't overexert yourself. Use extreme caution when driving. Sleet can cause dangerous road conditions and reduce visibility, so reduce speed, allow plenty of stopping distance. Really, people don't do this even under normal driving conditions. Please do that. Do not use cruise control when it's sleeting out as well. And before we get into the severe weather outlook for the next few days, as we do have an active weather pattern shaping up, go ahead and show y'all the actual snow totals and even ice totals, as well, as I did actually show y'all that here and even here for Minnesota and Wisconsin anyway. And there's even more areas under the gun for winter weather here in the northern plains and upper Midwest. Now, to take a look at the snow totals, we want to take a look at the national blended models here. Take us all the way out through Friday evening. Looks like roughly 5 to 10 inches here in southern North Dakota. Areas outside of that, roughly 3 to 6, 2 to 4 in parts of Minnesota, as you're going to be coming in on some icing down there. Take a look at the surface ice accumulations all the way through Friday evening. You can see close to a 1/4 inch of ice here in Wisconsin. That's nothing to play around with. Most likely power is going to be occurring with this much ice. Not as bad as it was earlier on this winter down here in parts of, I think it was Mississippi, really here in the southern part of the country somewhere, I forget where, but it was down here by Tennessee and Mississippi where y'all had that big ice storm when we had that big blizzard going on up here in Indiana, which resulted in over a foot of snowfall, unfortunately. Glad that's over, but you see close to a quarter-inch of ice up here on top of some pretty significant snowfall as well through Thursday evening, and of course as we head into Friday evening even more. So definitely coming in on our potential last major snowstorm of the winter season. Winter don't want to let go, unfortunately. It is springtime, but unfortunately typically winter likes to get its last hurrah in there before finally subsides and we finally come in on some spring weather. And speaking of spring weather, do got some severe weather to talk about for the next few days. You can see today we got this enhanced risk issued here in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Slight risk surrounding that, and slight risk is also including parts of the Ohio Valley here in southeast Indiana, northern Kentucky, and even southern Ohio, and even over here by Maryland, Virginia, and parts of Pennsylvania. As we got a triple threat of severe weather going on today, with the primary threats being really all hazards within all zones. We can see that primary threat's going to be a tornado threat here from Texas all the way up into Kansas. Low wind chance for tornadoes here in the Ohio Valley, and no tornado chance within the slight risk zone here in Virginia and Maryland and Pennsylvania. Now, what about the wind threat? Well, we got a pretty significant threat for that. There is a, if I go down here and show y'all, there is a close to 30% chance. It's a hatch chance, but we're just going to call it 30% chance for simplicity's sake here. For high winds here from Texas and Kansas, and of course, all zones are going to be dealing with high winds today. And hail's a lesser threat here from Indiana all the way into Maryland and New Jersey, but still a threat. Out here in the enhanced risk zone, it looks like all significant hazards are going to be possible today. So definitely be on high alert today. Seek shelter accordingly. Make sure you heed those warnings as well. Even if it's a radar indicated tornado warning, make sure you seek shelter accordingly in the basement, closet, interior, and away from windows. You'll be just fine. And keep in mind, even if you're under the low end chance for tornadoes, you can still get in on that significant tornado as shown in the past. That we've had I think it was a moderate risk one day, and there was a tornado that occurred, a significant one. I think it was in Michigan, where they were only under a low chance for tornadoes and they still got in on that significant tornado. So that's proof that really you should take any threat seriously. Even if you're under the low end threat, still take it very seriously. Make sure you seek shelter regardless whether or not it's a confirmed tornado or a radar indicated tornado. Now tomorrow, got a little bit lesser of a chance, but I keep hearing that tomorrow could be a very big day for severe weather. It's only a slight risk, but could be upgrade. We can see really the same threats as here on Wednesday. We got a 5% chance over here in Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Of course, lower chance surrounding that, of course. The wind threat, really just about the same as the tornado threat. We got a 15% chance for that within the slight risk zones. Hail threat, that's the lowest threat of the three, of course, so definitely be aware of that. Now, day 3, we got an enhanced risk issued. Now, we don't know what the main risks are going to be, but I'm guessing all hazards will be possible, all significant hazards at that, including tornadoes, large hail, and high winds. So, looks like a busy next few days, but after that we take a look at the day 4 to 8 outlook. Not much going on after that, but of course can and will change. So let's break down the timing of when y'all could expect the worst of the severe weather for the next few days, and then we'll break down the Easter weekend forecast and what we could expect after this Easter weekend. Now to do that, we can look at the HRRR. That only takes us out through Thursday morning. So we're going to take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer. This takes us a look out past 3 days from now, which is perfect. And we're going to take a look at the simulated radar here. Please keep in mind the date and time is right here if you ever want to keep track, by the way. Of course, we got that big winter storm going on up here in the northern plains where winter just does not want to let go. And of course, we got that severe weather threat here in the south central plains from Texas into Kansas. I would expect the timing for that to be roughly during the late evening into the overnight hours, as a squall line is going to be possible, and that's where this wind threat comes into play before it finally gets out. And you can see the big old ice storm up here by Minnesota, Wisconsin, and we got that big old snowstorm here in the Dakotas as well. So definitely going to be some treacherous conditions out there in the northern plains and upper Midwest. So if you have to travel, please be careful. If you don't, then please don't. Just please use your common sense. Really not too common nowadays, but basically the timing of the worst of severe is going to be from roughly at 5 o'clock Central Time, I would say, through, I would say, right around 10 o'clock Central Time before it finally gets out of y'all's hair. Now, what about the eastern part of the country here, as y'all are coming in on some severe weather as well here in Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, and parts of Virginia and Maryland? Now, keep in mind over here, mainly just a wind and hail threat. Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, there's a low wind chance for tornadoes, but like I said earlier, it can still come in on a significant tornado even on low wind days. Now, pushes forward, we can see roughly, I would say roughly at the same times as over there in the South Central Plains, roughly 5 o'clock, I would say, through right around, I would say 8 o'clock roughly. And it's looking like over there in Virginia and Maryland could be about the same story over there as well. So roughly within all the risk zones, I would say 5 o'clock through 10 o'clock roughly of when y'all could expect severe weather. Now back to the central part of the country to take a look at the tornado parameters before we get into the winds, as the winds are really the primary threat today. Now, significant tornado parameters means that the ingredients are favorable for tornadic activity. That don't mean a tornado is going to happen within the whole area. It just means the conditions are favorable for seeing a tornado today. Now, as we push this forward, we can see that heading to 5 o'clock, the tornado parameters start to ramp up a little bit, especially as we head into 7 o'clock. This is roughly 6 o'clock Central Time. We can see close to a 10 here in far northern Texas and into the Oklahoma Panhandle. And starts ramping up as we head into the early morning hours of Thursday. So there could be some severe weather as we head into the early morning hours of Thursday as well. That's not off the table. Roughly, I would say 5 o'clock through 10 o'clock, roughly. But I would say tornado threat from roughly 7 o'clock through midnight on the safe side. Now that's roughly 6 o'clock through 11 o'clock Central Time. Feel is not going to start getting ramped up till right around 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. And then it's going to finally get its act together as we head into the early morning hours of Thursday before it starts turning into a big old squall line. And as we take a look at the significant tornado parameters at right around 8 o'clock Central Time, we can see on the simulator radar there is going to be some storms interacting with that environment. So there definitely could be some severe weather at that time, including some significant tornadoes. So what about the winds? Well, we're taking a look at the wind gusts. These ain't going to be sustained winds, but as we push this forward, we can see could easily come in on 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts, upwards of 50 to 60 here along the squall line as we head into the early morning hours of Thursday. And as we zoom in here to the eastern part of the country, y'all are under the gun for some high winds as well. Now we can see not as bad as it was here in the central part of the country, but still, I would say probably 20 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts today with any storms that roll through right around 5 o'clock through midnight. Pretty wide time horizon, but that's pretty much on the safe side of when I would expect the worst of the severe weather to occur here. Eastern part of the country and the central part of the country, I would say roughly 6 o'clock Central Time through midnight to be on the safe side of when I would expect significant severe weather to roll through. I would say 8 o'clock through 10 o'clock is when I would be prepared for some significant tornadoes, especially here in northern Texas and to the panhandle of Oklahoma. So definitely be on high alert if you're anywhere within this enhanced risk zone and even the slight risk zone as well. Make sure you seek shelter accordingly when that warning gets issued. Basement, closet, interior, away from windows will be just fine. As Ryan Hall always says, don't be scared, but be prepared. And even if you're over here in the eastern part of the country under the slight risk zones, y'all are just mainly under the low wind chance for tornadoes and pretty good chance for high winds, but y'all should be prepared for severe weather as well today. Now, what about tomorrow? Well, we got a slight risk tomorrow on Thursday here in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and parts of Missouri as well. So, gonna take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer for this. Pull up the simulated radar here. You already know roughly 5 o'clock through midnight is when the worst of the severe weather roll through, mainly high winds and low wind chance for tornadoes within this area here, within these areas here. Once that rolls out, it's looking like as we push off into Thursday, could be dealing with severe weather roughly at right around the early afternoon hours, roughly 2 o'clock through 4 o'clock potentially. Then another round's going to be rolling through as we head into the overnight hours again. So as we take a look at the parameters here, as there is a pretty good chance for tornadoes tomorrow, there's a 5% chance for that. But I keep hearing online that we could be dealing with a pretty good chance for severe weather on Thursday. And we can see nothing off the charts here, but still pretty good odds of seeing a tornado here in Illinois, parts of Iowa and Wisconsin, and even up here by Michigan as well on Thursday, especially in the evening hours before it finally diminishes. We can also see the tornado parameters here in the central part of the country is going to be ramped up. Of course, this is roughly 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on Friday, so there could be severe weather here in the central part of the country early on in the morning. As we take a look back at the simulated radar here, we can see there is going to be a line of storms interacting with that favorable environment, so could be doing some severe weather early on in the morning. We take a look at the SPC outlook for day 3, we can see that that area is going to be coming in on a slight risk, and of course there is an enhanced risk here in Iowa and Missouri on Friday. And as we take a look back at the NAM 3 kilometer, we can see the furthest this goes out is Friday evening, so we will run this here, looking like another early afternoon event potentially before becoming a big old squall line, and this is when our damaging wind threat could come into play. So I'm thinking the main threat on Friday is going to be large hail and high winds with a pretty significant tornado threat as well. But of course, can will change, can be upgraded or downgraded. This far out, I would probably expect it to be upgraded, but you never know. Can also be downgraded and overperform as well. And I'll be keeping y'all posted, of course, like I always do on X and on Facebook and on here on YouTube community posts. So to rewind this, basically, this report here today, I would expect the worst of severe weather to roll through roughly at 6 o'clock Central Time through roughly midnight. Some storms could occur after midnight here in the southern plains within the enhanced risk zone. Pretty good chance of a tornado occurring at roughly, I would say, 7 o'clock Central through, I would say, 10 o'clock Central Time. Subject to change, of course, but that's when I would expect a tornado or two to occur. And winds could gust upwards of 60 mile an hour as well here in Oklahoma and Kansas and parts of Texas as well. So please be aware of that. Here out east, roughly the same time frame, there's a lesser chance of tornadoes and high winds over there, but still be on high alert over there as well. And of course, we got that slight risk here out east, here in Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, and parts of Missouri. Gonna be a early afternoon event, at least round 1 is anyway. Round 2, I think, is going to be a late evening event as the squall line is going to be rolling through. And I forgot to show you all the winds as well. I did get sidetracked here, but we can see the wind gusts are going to be upwards of 40 to 50 mile an hour. Some areas could come in on higher wind gusts, so definitely be aware of that as well. And on Friday, we got a enhanced risk, which could be upgraded or downgraded. It just depends. But as we hop on back over to the reflectivity, could be dealing with some severe weather early on in the morning here in the west side of the slight risk zone. But as we head off into later parts of the day, roughly the late evening hours, late afternoon into late evening hours, we could be dealing with a squall line at right around 4 o'clock Eastern time. So that's roughly 3 o'clock Central time. Or we could be dealing with some significant winds here within the enhanced risk zone. So some areas could come in on severe weather early on in the morning on Friday, while other areas are going to be coming in on it during the early afternoon into the evening hours. Now, what about the wind gusts in this area? Well, we can see roughly 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts within these slight and enhanced risk zones. So definitely, again, looks like an active weather pattern is going to be shaping up for the next 3 days. So definitely be on high alert. I'll be keeping you all informed, of course, on X and Facebook for the next couple of days anyways. And I'm sure once this video is already uploaded here today, that this video is going to be underway here in the south central part of the country. So definitely be hyper weather aware. And if that tornado warning goes off, seek shelter accordingly. Basement closet and turn away from windows and you'll be just fine. So now that I covered all of that, let's go ahead and get into the forecast of what we could expect for Easter weekend. And take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the GFS and zoom out here on the lower 48. Now, we already know about the severe weather threat for the next 3 days, as well as this big winter storm that's bringing ice and some significant snowfall here through the northern plains and upper Midwest. Once we move past that, it's looking like we head into this weekend. We could be coming in on a soggy mess here out east and in the upper Midwest, so some weekend plans could get ruined, unfortunately. So it looks like it could be a very soggy mess here from Texas up into Michigan, and especially up here in the upper Midwest and parts of the northern plains. So it looks like Easter weekend is going to be ruined, unfortunately, for these areas. If you're heading to any sort of get-togethers on Saturday, especially here on Sunday afternoon, y'all are heading to those family get-togethers and having fun with those Easter egg hunts. It looks like much of the country's actually going to be good to go on Sunday, so if y'all can hold off until Sunday to have those family get-togethers and do so. But of course on Saturday is not going to be good to go here from Texas into Michigan and the northern plains. But on Sunday, looks like the only areas that are going to be affected by weather is going to be here in the very far northern parts of the Northeast, much of the Mid-Atlantic, deep south, and here in southern Texas and parts of southern New Mexico and Arizona as well. But the rest of the country looks pretty good, although the northern plains and upper Midwest could be a little slick still. But of course, we still got to take a look at the temperatures as well, as that could melt off pretty quickly, actually, as we are going to be probably coming in on some pretty nice temperatures here very soon. And speaking of Easter, I did issue a Easter probability map of whether or not it's going to be good to go or not good to go. We can see the Northeast is 70% chance. I would probably downgrade that. I did create this yesterday, so of course this is subject to change, of course. So 70% chance in the Northeast, 90% chance in the Southeast. I would probably downgrade these to more of a probably 65% chance, because some areas are going to be pretty soggy, but of course don't let that deter you from getting out and having fun with your family and friends here on Easter and having fun on those Easter egg hunts as well. As far as Midwest goes, it's going to be a 55% chance, mainly because here in the upper Midwest, you're all going to be coming in on that snow and ice up there. It could be disrupting some travel up there, unfortunately. The West, I would probably upgrade this to more of a 95% chance. It's going to be pretty good to go out there. So roughly, here are the odds of it being good to go or not good to go. But of course, please don't let the weather deter you from celebrating Easter with family and friends and enjoying those Easter egg hunts as well. So make those memories, y'all. But back to the forecast here, we can see once we move past Sunday and into Monday, early next week, looks like we could come in on some pesky snow showers here in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast. Rest of the country looks to be pretty good though. Pretty dry for the rest of the country and pretty quiet as well. Southeast gonna be pretty soggy. Y'all do need the rain down here in Florida, and it looks like y'all are gonna be finally coming in on that as we head into early next week. And watch as we head into next week, we could come in on another active weather pattern. Now we are heading into 200 some hours out. Please take this with a grain of salt, but we could come in on another soggy weather pattern. Of course, the furthest this goes out is 240 hours. Usually this goes into 300 hours, but of course we look at previous runs, they don't update it completely for some reason, so I guess we're stuck at 240 hours. But basically, we'll be active for the next few days. Easter weekend is looking to be pretty soggy in the East Coast, down in the deep south, down into Texas and Northeast and parts of the Southwest. The rest of the country looks to be pretty good though. Head into next week, Florida's going to be finally getting some relief from the drought conditions down there. Great Lakes and Northeast could come in on some pesky snow showers as we head into next week. And we could come into another active weather pattern as we inch closer to the middle of the month. And of course, this is as far as the latest run of the GFS will go anyway. The previous updated runs weren't complete for some weird reason, so I guess this is what we get for now. So I guess we'll live with that anyway. So what about the Climate Prediction Center? Well, we take a look at the 8-14-day U.S. Hazards Outlook. There's not much going on. Oh, then some heavy precipitation here from Texas into Illinois. There's a slight risk for some heavy precipitation in that area. As far as snow goes, there is no hazards, but there is going to be some ice and snow occurring up here in the northern plains and upper Midwest as winter don't want to let go. But it will, though. Don't worry. I think this is going to be our last major snowstorm of the season. Unless I jinxed y'all over there in New York. Hopefully I didn't do that. Good April Fool's prank, by the way, as well. So high winds, we are in windy season. We can see the central part of the country here coming in on some high winds from the 9th through the 11th. So what does the Climate Prediction Center have to show us as far as the precipitation outlook goes? Well, it's looking like we're going to start to dry out here from Arkansas, Mississippi up here into the Northeast, especially here from Tennessee into New Hampshire. So I guess that's some good news anyway. We did come in on a very soggy start to springtime and a very soggy winter at that as well. Looks like Florida, y'all are going to be finally getting some relief from the drought conditions down there, as above average precipitation is going to be expected. And it looks like the rest of the country is going to be above average unless you live out here out in the West Coast. So looks like a pretty quiet weather pattern as we head into the middle of the month anyway. Now, what about the sort of the middle to end of the month? Well, much of the same story really. Here out in the eastern part of the country is going to be pretty dry, except for down here by Florida where y'all do need the rain. Central part of the country is going to be pretty wet. West Coast is going to be pretty dry, so there could be an active weather pattern shaping up here in the central part of the country, but eastern part of the country is going to be pretty dry here. We head into the middle and probably the end of the month as well. So what about the temperatures? Well, since the GFS only takes us out to the middle of the month, we're just going to take a look all the way through that time frame anyway, but we can see here today, going to be coming in on some very nice temperatures here for really much of us, unless you live here in the northern plains, northeast, and the Rockies. And watch as we head into later this week, really much of the same story really. This is why we're dealing with that severe weather here in the South Central Plains and Ohio Valley and parts of the Great Lakes as well, is because we've got that warm air coming up from the south, cold air coming down from the north. Of course, whammo, we come in on severe weather, nothing new for this time of year. We can see that cold air is going to be sticking around up here in the northern plains and upper Midwest as we inch closer to Easter weekend. So unfortunately, that snow and ice is going to be sticking around up there, unfortunately. And we can see, though, as we head into Easter weekend, looks like a cold front's going to be coming through, knocking those nice warm temperatures out. So it could be a pretty chilly Easter weekend for those family get-togethers and Easter egg hunts, unfortunately. So I guess bundle up. If you're heading out to any of those this weekend, and pack an umbrella if you live here in the East Coast, Northeast, the Deep South, Southern Texas, and even here in southern New Mexico and Arizona as well. Head off into next week. Looks like we're going to be really dealing with a roller coaster ride of temperatures, but leaning towards a drastic warm up here for much of the country. And we could come into another active weather pattern as we head into late next week. As you can see, we got this warm and cold line here where a cold front could be rolling through, bringing severe weather and cold air along with it as well. So basically another couple weeks of a roller coaster ride of temperatures, but I think we're going to start to stabilize as we head into the middle of the month. And let's actually take a look at the temperature anomalies. We can see that we're going to be leaning above average, really way above average here in the mid-south into Ohio Valley and south central part of the country, while the rest of the country is looking to be a little bit below normal, above normal here in the southwest. But watch as we inch closer to Easter weekend, those above average temperatures are going to be wiped out. Going to be coming into some below normal temperatures here out east for Easter weekend and into early next week. Western part of the country is going to be pretty warm though, so it looks like a pattern flip is going to be in store as we head into and past Easter weekend, unfortunately. But don't worry, if you hate the cold air, looks like that warm air is going to be returning as we head into the middle of the month. So pretty much we're going to be coming into a volatile temperature pattern as well as a volatile weather pattern, really, to be honest, as we inch closer to the middle of the month before we finally start stabilizing as we head into the middle of April. And as we can see here on the Climate Prediction Center, we're going to be really above average for much of us unless you live up here in the Northeast, Southeast, Deep South, and here in Southern Texas. As I was saying earlier, basically as we head into Easter weekend, we're going to be a little chilly next week as well, but I think we're going to finally start to warm up as we head into the middle of the month. And that's when we're going to start to stabilize as well. Head into the next 8 to 14 days, we can see clearly here that much of the country is going to be heading into an above average pattern. And this is when I'm expecting it to start stabilizing, as we are going to be coming in on an active weather pattern leading up into Easter weekend and into early next week potentially. But then we're going to start to stabilize as we head into late next week and into the middle of the month. As you can see here, well above average temperatures for much of us, which is actually well needed. Take a look at the hazardous temperatures outlook. We can see we are going to be coming in on well below average temperatures here in Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and parts of Illinois as well on the 8th. And let's actually take a look at that before I do a summary here. And we can see why they issued the slight risk that they did for hazardous temperatures. We can see close to teens up here in the Northeast and close to freezing here in the Ohio Valley. So if you've planted anything, please hold off. Don't do it just yet. I'd probably hold off until late April to plant anything, as we can still come in on frost here in the beginning of April, so definitely be mindful of that. As you can see, close to freezing temperatures here in the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Northeast on the 8th, so definitely be mindful of that. So to wrap this up, pretty much for the next few days, we're going to be coming in on an active weather pattern here for much of us. Severe weather here in the south central plains and really the eastern part of the country, while the northern plains and upper Midwest are going to be coming in on some icing and significant snowfall. Coming in on significant snowfall out in the western part of the country. And for Easter weekend, unfortunately, we're going to be pretty soggy here for, I would say, much of the eastern part of the country. If you're having those get-togethers on Saturday, prepare for some soggy conditions here out east and prepare for some slick conditions here in the northern plains. If you're having it on Sunday, I would probably have it on this day compared to Saturday because it's going to be a little bit of a nicer day out there. It'll be very soggy here in the East Coast, Northeast, Deep South, and here by Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. As far as temperatures go for Easter weekend, it's going to be pretty nice for much of us unless you live up here in the northern plains and Northeast. But for the rest of the country, Easter weekend is looking to be pretty decent, actually. But once we move past Easter weekend, could be coming in on some pesky snow showers in the Great Lakes, upper Midwest and Northeast. The rest of the country looks pretty good, though. Coming in on well-needed rain down here by Florida. And into next weekend, could come in on another active weather pattern. We're dealing with some flooding, severe weather, and some heavy snowfall again here in the northern plains, upper Midwest, and even the Rockies as well, which is good for those ski resorts out there if you have any. And of course, further we head out, the more uncertainty there is. And this model run, we can actually go out past 300 hours out. So I guess they must have updated it, so there we go. Basically, head into Easter weekend, coming in on an active weather pattern. Then the middle of the month, we're going to be quiet. Then as we head past the middle of the month, sort of uncertain, but I'm thinking we're going to be coming back into another active weather pattern. And I did forget to show y'all who will come in on the jackpot of rain and snow for the next couple of weeks. So let's actually get into that. I know I'm jumping around a lot. I'm sorry about that, but we can see here the central part of the country coming in on the most rainfall. Actually, zoom in here, show y'all. Roughly, I would say 2 to 4 inches here from Texas into Michigan. Now, keep in mind, some of this could be snowfall, especially up here in Minnesota and here in the Dakotas, as some of that could be ice and snow as well. For snow goes, we can see the jackpot of snow will be up here in the Dakotas and up here by Minnesota. The rest of the country is looking pretty good though, really, unless you live out here in the Rockies and California mountains, which is pretty typical for this time of year. And as we zoom in here to the upper Midwest here, we can see that roughly a foot of snowfall is going to be occurring up there on top of some significant icing, which is going to be roughly a 1/4 inch of ice here in Wisconsin, which is nothing to play around with. As far as temperatures go, well, we're going to be in a volatile temperature pattern as we head into Easter weekend. Warm temperatures here for much of us here in the central and eastern part of the country, but the north central part of the country into the northeast and Rockies is going to be very cold, while we got severe weather down here in the south central part of the country and significant snow and ice in the northern plains. And we can see that warm and cold air are going to be fighting as we head into Easter weekend, but the cold air is going to win out, unfortunately, so definitely bundle up if you're heading to the family get-togethers and Easter egg hunts this weekend. But don't worry though, if you hate the cold air and want that warm air back, we're going to be coming back into that as we head into early next week. We're still going to be coming in on that volatile temperature pattern where we're going to be back and forth, but I think we're going to start to stabilize as we head into the middle and end of April. So basically, active weather pattern for the next few days will result in some chilly temperatures. Don't worry though, we're going to start to stabilize and quiet down as we head towards the end of the month, which is going to result in some nice warm temperatures as well. It's going to stay warm as well. So if you stayed this far in the video, I'd like to thank y'all. As a thank you, we're actually probably not going to take a look at the auroras. We were going to take a look at the auroras, but we are missing data here. So it looks like there is a glitch in the matrix there, as you can see. So instead of that, we're going to take a look at the bird migration as the birds are going to start moving up here in April. We can see April 1st today. We got 60 million birds moving through tonight. Tomorrow night we got 68 million, but a little less here on the night of the 3rd. So the birds are starting to move up, y'all, and there was a rare bird spotted the other day, a yellow cardinal, so that was pretty cool. I think it was up there in Michigan where it was spotted, so that is very, very neat. So I hope each and every one of y'all enjoyed this little forecast. If you did, please make sure you hit that like and share buttons. More folks are informed about the weather, and leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as any feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. Also, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button down below, because at Here Wins Weather, we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. So basically, active weather pattern shaping up for the next few days as we inch closer to Easter weekend. Looks like some Easter weekend plans could get ruined, unfortunately, if you're heading to any family get-togethers on Saturday. Looks like could get ruined for much of us here out east, and really for much of northern plains and southern plains as well. But if you're heading out on Sunday, it looks like it's gonna be good to go for much of the country, unless you live in the northeast, east coast, deep south, and down by Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. But for the rest of the country, it looks pretty good. But of course, don't let the weather deter you from getting out and celebrating Easter with friends and family. And as we head into next week, it looks like the weather's going to start to stabilize a little bit. Could come in on volatile temperatures, and we could come in on some light snow and maybe some severe weather here and there next week, but really nothing to be worried about just yet anyway. I'll keep y'all posted, of course, as I always do on X on Facebook and here on YouTube community posts. And it's looking like the weather's going to start to stabilize as we head into the middle of the month, which is going to result in some nice warm temperatures for much of us and a quiet weather pattern as well. So again, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all of y'all for watching, and until next time, never stop forecasting.